We're always making sure that our Bitcoin holdings are very, very secure, that we're not sharing any information with anybody, that no one can access it. But what happens if something happens to us or something happens to a loved one? How would we access those holdings? And I'm talking about, if like in my case, my dad was in a car accident and I had to take care of his affairs. Well, how could I had to figure out how to get a hold of things, how to get into accounts to pay his bills, all of that. And so that was really complicated. Or if somebody passes away, there's definitely no chance that you're going to be able to get that information if they didn't have a plan that they left. So today I want to give you some homework to look into to help you with your planning. And I definitely don't have everything figured out. So I would love to also hear from you all on anything that's working for you, anything that you feel comfortable sharing. So let's not let our Bitcoin die with us. One option is to let someone you really, really trust know how to access your holdings. Like in my case, my dad felt comfortable enough to share that with me. The tough thing about this is that you got to make sure you can trust the person. But sometimes it's not as simple as that. Maybe your kids that you have are very, very young. They're too young to be able to do anything with Bitcoin. Or maybe you have children that are not fully trustworthy, or maybe you have several kids. And how do you make sure that when you're gone or something happens to you, that you're being fair to everybody, and that if one of them gets access, that they are fair to each other? Or if they're too young now, how do you make sure to keep your assets, your digital assets, secure and safe so that nobody takes it from them because they are young and they just don't know how to deal with that? There's a lot to think about there. There are some inheritance planning options that are just popping up. Unchained Capital offers this. I also just got an email from Fidelity offering it too as part of their estate planning. I've heard some people get a trust or a lawyer, but this just makes me really nervous because you're still trusting a third party. You can use a multi-sig setup for this, but it's still just not perfect. It's not ideal. And when everybody's out there saying not your keys, not your Bitcoin, what in the world do you do? How do you trust these services? We also go to great lengths to secure our phones, and this can be another barrier if something happens to us. Using multi-auth or multi-authentication can keep your assets really secure, but it can also keep people from being able to access things if we are unable to grant that access, or if we were to pass away, whatever the case is. But what do you guys think? Do you have a solid plan? If anyone feels comfortable sharing, I'd love to hear what you're doing. I don't have all the answers. I wish I could tell you exactly the best way to plan for your digital assets, but honestly, it's something that I'm really struggling with right now. If you found this video helpful, subscribe so you don't miss the next one. I post weekly on how Bitcoin fits into our lives, our families, and our future. There's a few other practical steps. I think just to sum this all up is that it's really important to inventory your digital assets. So make sure that you have an inventory that you can leave behind of what are the wallets that you're using, exchanges, any type of seed backups, even instructions on how to do this. And really not even for other people, but even for yourself, it's good to have all of that information to make sure that you are tracking transactions for tax purposes as well, if that's applicable. I think that it's probably just good practice anyways. Decide who should inherit and how you want them to access it would also be really good to have documented. So often review, look it over, and make any updates to your plan as your holdings are changing or the technology that you're using is changing.